Hi, I am Victoria Seed, and in this week's 10 at 11, I am going to be talking to you about why you need to stop wondering whether your loved one is an addict. Okay, I'm just going to pop the banner up here because it doesn't seem to have come on. So, yeah, I help women, professional business, and retired women who are living with a loved one's addiction to live their most happy and peaceful life. And I do that by offering a variety of support. I have a free community which you can access here. Um, and it's Facebook, it's called Not My Addiction. Please come and join us there. It's absolutely free. And I also have groups and a membership option as well to work with me, as well as my one to ones. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because I see a lot of women who have waited sometimes up to 15, 20 years to get my help. They've been hoping that things are going to change. They've been wondering whether the loved one is an addict. So that is what we're going to focus on today. Why you need to stop wondering whether your loved one is an addict. So I'm just going to run through some points here. I've got 8 points today just to talk to you about. And the first one is that we don't even assess for addicts professionally. So there is no assessment to say somebody is an addict or not. It isn't language that we are told to use. And I've done other videos on language and stigmatizing language and the language we should use and the avoidance of labels. And, we don't really in professional services use that sort of terminology. So an example of that is that the DSM-5 is a diagnostic manual to assess people for psychological issues, really mental health issues. And in that, the way we assess for drug and alcohol use is substance use disorder or alcohol use disorder. And then we assess that at mild, moderate, and severe. So you can hear there's no reference to addict. All right. So we need to stop using that language. And if we're assessing people at mild, moderate, and severe, what that suggests is that even if the problems that that substance is causing that person or others around them, it still requires some level of help and support. So you don't need that diagnosis, by the way. This is what medical professionals use. I don't use it as a drug and alcohol practitioner, but I thought that was worth mentioning. So forget that, forget it, because it's just not relevant. Basically, the second point I wanted to share was that if your loved one's alcohol and or other drug use is causing you or them problems, then it's time for help. So when we get hung up on the addict label, we think, oh, it could be worse, or someone else has got it worse, or whatever. And I'll get onto that in a moment. But the thing is, as soon as a substance starts causing a problem for an individual or others around them, then you or they can choose to get some help. Okay. The third point I wanted to say is that when you're waiting for things to get worse, or wondering whether somebody is an addict or not, what happens is that everybody can end up in a state of denial, which means the affected family member, friends, partners, colleagues, whoever it is, are thinking, oh, well, they're not an addict, so I don't need to get help. So you're denying that there is a problem there. And more often than not, the person that's using the substance will minimize their problems or even deny that there is a problem there. And then what happens is everybody just gets in this kind of pit of denial and no action is taken from anyone. Okay, so just to add there that we can't force somebody else to take action about a problem that they have, but what we can do is get help for ourselves. And that is what my service is all about. Okay, so number four is finding evidence for somebody being an addict or not. Just steals your energy. Even when I'm working with people and the loved ones are in recovery, this can still easily fall back into that pattern of fact trying to prove things, trying to evidence things, and I totally understand why that happens because you feel like, you might be being gaslighted or, somebody's lying to you or whatever it is, or you just need to know so you know which strategy to use. But if you map out their substance use and what you've identified and seen and noticed when they're using, when they're sober, when they're coming down, when they're hungover, how they've behaved towards you, the behaviour that you've noticed, even if you don't actually know they've used, then you can pretty much figure out whether that use has occurred or not. Maybe not every time, but a lot of the time. And there's ways you can address that with somebody that we go through on the work I do. And I've gone through that in other sessions as well. So your energy here can be used on moving forward and not staying stuck. So that is the message here, really. You don't want to be wasting all your energy trying to find evidence. You want to be trying to move forward. Um, and number 5 is you might end up engaging in never ending research. So, several clients of mine are Googling every minute of the day before bed, trying to desperately find help and support. Perfectly normal stress response because you're trying to fight the issue. So, fight, flight, or freeze, we're fighting. Um, or freezing potentially if you're just stuck in that mode. But what happens is then on Google, you're not finding evidence-based, information. You might just go and find blogs or forums or whatever, and what you're told in some of these places isn't necessarily professional advice. So that can be unhelpful in itself, and it can become really obsessive to be like, "Are they or aren't they? Are they or aren't they? What help can I get? What can I do?" And the best thing to do there is just to have a conversation with somebody that can help. And I don't just mean me, there are lots of other organizations that can help as well. So just please don't be on your own, is the message here. Number 6 is that you might decide that they're high functioning or aren't like those people on the street. So, we can have an image in our head, a description of somebody that is a typical addict, and we've all got it, I think. It's very stigmatizing and judgmental, but we do have those things within us. Um, so and then I hear a lot of clients saying, "Oh, well, they're high functioning, they've got a job, they go out, they look after the kids, they parent, they this or that and the other." And it's like, yeah, but it's still causing you problems or you wouldn't be here, so it can't be that high functioning. So don't diagnose someone as high functioning as a reason to not take action and to get some help and support for yourself or your kids if you've got them and you feel like they're being affected by it. What this does is prevents recovery for you all. So number 7 is you might start waiting for them to hit rock bottom before they might make a change. And I talk about this a lot, and it's no disrespect to the 12 steps, but taken out of the 12-step context, if you're not working that program and you hear things like waiting to hit rock bottom, it is quite dangerous because what does it mean? Like, what are you going to wait for? Because there is plenty that we can be doing before somebody gets to that point. Otherwise, I and many, many people that do work like mine and in recovery services just wouldn't bother because we'd be just waiting for everybody to hit rock bottom, and it just doesn't make any sense. So don't do that. Like, reach out for help and support for yourself. And number 8 is, you might just spend all of your energy, which 9.5 times out of 10 of all of the people that I've helped, they are doing this. They are trying to change another person, and it just won't work. The only way that you can influence a change, and it's not necessarily going to happen, but the best approach for you to do is get help for yourself, change your own strategies, get educated, get ahead of the substance, and then once you change, your loved one is more likely to change. And this has been evidenced in research over and over and over and over again. By far, the program and the model that I teach and I have adopted, not it's not all mine. I've been trained in the best models from the best science and research. So these type of models have around a 60 to 70% chance of your loved one changing and making a change around their substance use just by learning strategies to cope and by changing yourself. So that's it for today. I just thought those strategies would be really useful and those points. If that sounds like you, I can help. Just get in touch with me and come and join the free group if you can. I will see you next week.